Hi Gemini, this is your February 2016 horoscope with me, Lada from Astrology.com. For anyone who has their ascendant, sun or moon in Gemini. And what does February hold for you? I promised you in the January videos that this time in the February video I will talk about Mars in Scorpio, which will be in Scorpio from February for a little bit, goes into Sagittarius and then comes back again till the end of August, almost till September, till August I would say. And that's a very long period for a planet to stay in the same sign, for Mars in particular, because Mars will be going retrograde there, not exactly from February into the spring. Will go retrograde, but the process, you're going to start seeing the results. You're going to start seeing not the results, but the direction of how things will develop already from February, because Mars will be transiting already those degrees that it will come back to Earth in the spring, summer, and pass 3 times over. So you'll be getting a whiff of what is about to come. And I think that a forewarned warrior is kind of armed warrior. So it's good to know for the next 6-7 months how to prepare psychologically, what to expect. And there are many different ways to read Mars transiting for such a long time in your 6th house, Gemini. And it happens rarely. Last time it happens usually about 17 years. So it's once, 2-3 times a life opportunity in a sense to really transform the area of that house in your life. Because when Mars goes 3 times in the same house or stays for such a long time, this is where we rebel. This is where we develop willpower. First of all, when Mars stays for a long time in one of our houses, it means that it's time for us, the cosmic clock is telling us, and for you Gemini in particular, it's time to develop willpower in regards to 6th house matters. And what is this? 6th house is the house of victimhood. Do you have a victim mentality? You know, do you feel like blaming this or that all the time? Do you say like, oh, only if my background, or if my parents had money, or only if my boss was not such an asshole? This is the 6th house, is accusatory, blaming, victim kind of mentality. And Mars there can break through it for the next 7 until the end of August, I would say. So you have an opportunity now, maybe not for Gemini, ascendant on the moon, this will happen exactly like that. I'll tell you all the possibilities that I think of how Mars in the 6th can work, but whichever you feel that you really resonate to, very likely you'll start noticing it from February, March onwards. So victim mentality can be broken up through you. Actually, by such oppressors, and exploiters that you're blaming, they might increase their bullying methods. They might increase the crisis between you and them, people that you consider enemies or situations that you consider inimical. They can escalate, but this escalation happens, and it's so amazing, only so you confront those fears, you break through on the other side, and you no longer are afraid of those fears. You no longer feel as a victim, because it will make you mobilize your willpower against such enemies, against such inimical, unbalanced situations that you blame, and you no longer feel this victim mentality. But this process, because Mars triggers it, Mars is one of them, as we call them, more harsh planets, malefics. To have a psychological breakthrough, you know, you need to have a little crisis, a crisis of some sort. Because also Mars is going to be in Scorpio, the sign of huge transformation, deep psychological transformation. And if you've had some kind of a victim mentality, or like, oh, I'm so fat, you know, I'll always be fat, that's it, you know, that's just my faith, and, you know, whatever. I'm not saying, you know, it might be illness or whatever, but such kind of defeatist thoughts, because the 6th house is the house of the victim, is the house of the underdog, the house of the one that feels like, poor me, you know, and the servants, is the servants, the slaves. You know, nowadays we don't have servants, well, probably we do actually in many countries, but Western world mostly don't know people that are servants to their job as well. But being in such kind of a more victim thought about illness, about conflict, about exploiters or people that are not treating right, or even situations that you've kind of said, okay, that's it, this is my cross, I'll bear it. Well, Mars, when it goes into the 6th house, says, I'm going to fight for justice now. I'm going to fight imbalance. I'm going to fight, because 6th house is the house of lack of balance. And, you know, victimhood is a state of lack of balance. But any kind of where there isn't fairness, where there isn't equality, this is the 6th house. And Mars goes there and you want to fight for that. And you say, damn it, I'm not the victim anymore. Or someone presses you in the corner, an enemy, because 6th house naturally rules enemies. So you see yourself not only as the victim anymore. Initially it might intensify and you say, oh, you know. But then it's like the Hulk, and you find your strength. And you say, wow, I can, you know, I'm going to fight for that. This bullying boss or this bullying or this whatever, whoever it is, I'm not going to stand for that. And 6th house naturally rules also in ancient astrology litigation, because it's the house of conflict of enemies. So, you know, people in law, people in the military, 6th house rules war, military, litigation, so crime investigation, crime basically, people in the medical field. So if you happen to be someone who works in the military, in the army, in the police force, in the medical field, anything which lacks balance, medical people take care of our health, you know, of people that are unbalanced, unhealthy in some way. So medical field, people, doctors, healers, people that work in social services, that work with the underdog, the underclass, people that work with social injustices, people that are in any careers that require conflict resolution of some sort, or working with poverty, with debt, because 6th house also rules debt, with illness. So these are kind of a lot of the services, the government services. I think they're paid now in a lot of places as well. But that help with unbalance or difficult situations. These are, and if you happen to have such a career, actually it indicates now that your business will be, or work will be extremely busy, because Mars, the planet of energy, is there in the 6th house. So you're already 6th house person if you have such a career, Gemini. And then Mars will escalate. Maybe there'll be a lot more work. Or if you're a doctor, surgeon, you know, there'll be a lot more social worker. There'll be a lot more a minister, someone who works with ministries that help feed the poor, whatever, you know. So you'll be a lot more engaged with that. It will require a lot of more physical, psychological energy. But you can achieve a lot as well, because Mars is extremely productive planet, extremely soldier-like. So you have a lot of willpower to get projects there, organize projects in those fields, you know, and to arrange things there, run them as a military operation almost. So it can be very productive, Mars in the 6th house, for especially those of you that are involved with such fields. Even if you're not involved, you might find yourself that you're giving a lot more service, and that a lot of your energy, time, psychological, emotional resources you put into servicing others, into maybe helping someone in a difficult situation. That's the 6th house. Helping someone who has problem, who is the underdog, or helping poor people, you know, someone who is sick, help taking care of someone who is sick physically. Mars, like going there and physically doing something. This is another theme that can manifest for you, Gemini, over the next few months. 6th house also rules our own personal health and how we maintain our personal health. And Mars, they can vitalize us, to get us going, to develop our... It's time now, the cosmic clock is saying to you, Gemini, ascendant, sun or moon, it's time for you to vitalize, to develop your willpower in regards to taking care of your body, in regards to those daily routines. Are your teeth rotting because you forget to brush your teeth? You know, or to chew neem leaves, or whatever your hygiene routine is. Well, 6th house, naturally the house of illness. Mars can create a situation very acute, so it pays attention to you, that now you can no longer, you know, just go with the flow. Mars is your willpower, and mobilizing your willpower, emotional, physical, psychological, to fight an issue. So how do we get mobilized? By usually some crisis happening, you know. Is it a big tooth that starts hurting? It's a tooth pain. Or is it an inflammation that happens in your body? Or is it your digestive system? Because Mars is this inflammatory planet, so it's a little bit of sharp pain that comes to you. Very sharp, you know, you can see Gemini certain very fast, like it's might be back, whatever, it might be the sex organs. For every person might be different thing, and not for every person it will be the health that gets affected. Just for people who have not used their willpower well to take care physically of their body. Maybe they've been overeating, whatever. Maybe they've been, living in a polluted environment, and now some acute symptoms can come up. And those acute symptoms will come up again only if in your birth chart you have indications that such thing can happen in your life, such health problem. Because some people die without even having a cold their whole life, But I'm just giving you all the possibilities. So some kind of a acute or symptom, health, physical, can really get triggered now by Mars. And why? How can you change it? By using your willpower to change your daily habit. By, if it's a toxic environment you're in, even pollution, changing that, doing some physical actions, taking some physical actions. Or if it's your back that hurts, maybe you have to strengthen the muscles. Actually, when Mars is in the 6th house, Mars naturally rules muscles. It's very good to train the willpower to exercise the muscles, and a lot of problems, health problems, can be solved by some kind of a physical activity of strengthening the muscles. So if you wanted to lose weight for a long time, and if you wanted to get in shape for a long time, Mars for a long time in your 6th house, that's the time, Gemini. That's the time, because Mars sends an aspect, is the 6th backwards aspect, or 8 forward, to the ascendant, which is the physical body, and vitalizes your physical body, gives you energy, especially in order to get yourself fit, in order to purify your body, because 6th house is purification, getting rid of the things that create diseases. Otherwise, these things can, create the illness. So you can definitely get yourself in a workout routine. Mars helps you be like a Brahmachari. Mars is the planet of the Brahmachari, which is the soldier. So it helps you be soldier-like in your discipline and your willpower, in regards to physical exercise, or in regards to the health habits you keep to maintain yourself, to maintain your health. Whether it's maybe you decide to finally develop the willpower to walk daily for 20-30 minutes. I need those transits. And Mars transits your 6th house once every 2.5 years. So it's not like every 2.5 years you make such a big change. But now it's so different, because Mars is there for not for 2 months like naturally it does every 2.5 years, but for 7 months almost. So now you can really have some breakthrough. And actually this breakthrough will happen through some psychological change of how you see things. Because Scorpio is there. Your 6th house, Gemini, is in Scorpio. And Scorpio is the psychological transformation. Because of it, because of a deep psychological transformation, sometimes and often caused by some little crisis or trauma that spurs us on, which is Scorpionic. To make those changes in regards to your health, in regards to your routines, daily routines, and to develop this willpower. 6th house also is death. So you become Mars loves to be in the 6th house, because it helps us solve such problems. 6th house is a very difficult house. It's one of the houses of dealing with, health problems, with inequality, with death, with enemies. And when Mars is there, it can increase the enmity with someone, but we win. That's the funny thing, because we have the upper hand for the enemy there. Because the 6th house is, you become feisty. You cannot tolerate in balance anymore, on equality. And so we can win over it's true that you can be engaged in more enmity than usual. It can escalate over the next few months. But at the same time, or more complicated situations that need some intervention, that need some fixing. 6th house also rules addictions together with the 8th and 12th house. These 3 houses, 6, 8, 12. So you have a chance to also to tackle with your willpower and psychological transformation through Scorpio an addiction problem. Very good, and physical muscle exercise can help in that a lot. Changing the diet will help a lot. If you're fixing an addiction through the sixth house, this happens, a lot of physical activities is involved there, like changing the routines, going for walks or changing your nutrition. If it's eighth house, you're changing addiction, Mars there, or, you know, I'm probably going to do a separate video for that to explain. It's more psychological, big issue that you're overcoming inner demons. But anyway, Mars in the sixth house is dead. Sixth house is naturally dead, and Mars there can help you fight ruthlessly with death and overcome even death. You might take some initiative steps that can help you reduce your debt overall. And sixth house naturally rules work and service, so you might take like 2 jobs, because Mars puts so much energy in the sixth house. So some of you might say, okay, that's it, I want to get rid of poverty in my life. It's not even debt, but poverty or not having enough money, feeling always on the margin, marginalized, on the fringe. That's the sixth house, you know, this house of servant slaves, poverty. So you say, damn it, I'm gonna actively pursue, which is Mars, my freedom from this. And you can take more jobs, you can take more service, you can work at 2-3 places, or even if it's not your motivation to release yourself from debt, but a lot of you who are in debt and have Gemini ascendant in particular, to a lesser degree Sun or Moon, can actually make considerable progress till August in regards to fighting that debt and in regards to overcoming it. Or those of you who have physical illness can fight with it till August and overcome it. Some debilitating physical illness or something that's been an imbalance in your life, physical, you can overcome it till August. But sometimes the motivator for taking extra work or job might not be, you know, money or debt. It might be just, it happens, you know, that you get given more work, more duties. This is the sixth house. Making you busier, so you can expect that, having to work behind the scenes, working on something, putting a lot of energy in something that requires lots of detail. That's another thing that can happen. But again, it can be very good overall for your career, material situation. By the end of this whole process, by August, you'll say, whew, wow, I did so much work. I never thought I had the energy or the willpower to do it. I'm so much more efficient and organized now. I can get the same job done that I've done for years in twice the time as before, because sixth house is the house of efficiency as well. Making something more compact, making something more organized. And Mars there makes you like a soldier disciplined to do those things. Mars there makes you like, that's it, willpower. I finally have the willpower to get organized, to start workout, to get rid of that debt, to stop being guilty, to stop being a victim, you know. So you do some actions that take you out of those imbalances. And sixth house is naturally house of work, service, so it's Artha house, as we say. So it helps with such financial, material matters, to overcome difficulties then, to move forward with our willpower. And we see, not always do things come to us through willpower. Actually, the biggest times we can show willpower is when Mars goes retrograde in certain house. So finally we can impact that house with us doing something. Many times we just don't have the push or drive or the energy to do that. You know, and Mars, when it goes retrograde or when it stays for so long time in the same house, gives that energy to you, gives that ambition, gives that motivation, gives that drive and willpower. And again, it's a gift from God. You know, we think it's our willpower, but we were spurred on it by some crisis or whatever, and this energy gathered up in us. Sixth house is also the house of people that you employ. So there might be more fights with people that you employ, or fights between people that you employ. But again, you have the upper hand there. Mars loves being, sixth house is the house where Mars usually always gives you to win over the enemies or difficulties you're fighting with. Because sixth house is your employees, there might be some tension there, or they might be extremely energetic and productive, so you can get a lot of things done and delegate to people that work for you, whether it's your manager and the people below you. Anyone that is one class on the hierarchy below you, or a few classes, is the sixth house. And it's not right to say people are not equal, but you know, in certain in careers there's hierarchy. So there is, you know, someone will have more lower ladder responsibilities. And anyone who is like that below you nowadays, maybe your colleagues, but the one that work for you, that are in your team, they'll become more competitive. You definitely see that. So it can create some clashes there at the workplace with such people, colleagues, people that work for you, or if you have your own business, your employees. But at the same time, on the higher level, you'd also notice that even though the environment at work is more competitive, that people spur each other more to get a lot more work done. And you can, your team, with you, your employees, you can achieve some proper restructuring of the routines of the whole business or whatever it is. It can be very productive by the end of. It's going to require lots of energy as well. This is what Mars is. It requires energy, willpower. But by the end of this process in August, you'll be like, wow, we've achieved quite well. We've done so much work, you know. Sixth house rules also your animals. Sometimes if you have a pet animal, it can become a bit more aggressive or more energetic the same way. Okay, so that's, you know, I think we mentioned almost everything connected to sixth house. You know, some people in sixth house careers will naturally benefit a lot. Some of you might be fighting against poverty, ignorance, against crime, starvation, exploitation, prejudice. All these things are sixth house, you know. Environmental pollution. You might get very excited about such kind of themes of fighting for something that is out of balance, and fighting for against injustice. You know, that's a theme for you for 5-6 months. But anyway, Gemini, let's go back to the month of February, specific prognosis. That was for 6 months ahead. Now, and I'm going to talk also about Mars being in your 7th house, because for part of the next 7 months, Mars will also be in your 7th house, but I'm going to talk about that in March. So tune in to see that, what it means when Mars is for 2-3 months in your 7th house. Okay, so going back to February, Mercury and Venus, for you Gemini, are in your 8th house. So till the middle of February, they're helping you communicate better, investment, or maybe helping you find out some secrets through communications with others, something more intimate about the life of people in your life, helping you increase intimacy. This is the 8th house. Helping you make decisions, important decisions about mutual finances, money, that you have with others, or investments that you have with others, shares, resources, because both Mercury and Venus are the planet of decision making, assessing a situation, so you can like wrap up and reach some conclusions and decisions about matters of mutual finances, taxes, shared resources with others, resource investment that comes, you know, that you've invested to, and such things. Inheritances. And then Mercury and Venus go into your 9th house. So it becomes very auspicious time for you to connect with and to benefit and to create bonds with people that are standing far away from you, literally or physically. This might be foreigners, this might be people that live away from you, this might be people unfamiliar from you. So like new people, that you expand your horizons with meeting new different people culturally, hierarchically, maybe someone from a higher social status or someone from a different background than you, someone that lives away, someone that, you know, or people that are mentor type of figure. You can receive very good advice from someone when Mercury and Venus are in your 9th house. And it's kind of the people you meet, they can expand your horizons now. They can offer new, especially the second part of February, new adventure for you, can help you see matters from a bit higher perspective, different perspective. So that's supportive. Mercury and Venus will be supporting you and feeling more positive as well when you progress into February. Jupiter and Rahu continue to be very close together, and in ancient scrolls it says that every time Jupiter and Rahu came together, every 7-8 years, this was when the priests told the king to pray. And the king would not pray all the time. He would pray and do specific rituals when those two, Jupiter and Rahu, the north node of the moon, came together in the sky, because they manifest wishes. They are manifesting planets, of materially manifesting, making things happen. And they, for you, Gemini, are in your 4th house. So especially in regards to something, make prayers, or you can make something happen physically in regards to place you're gonna live in regards to who you're gonna settling down, because the fourth house is putting roots, settling down, property. So you can make some important progress, or the first steps, so manifest or pray for things, and you're gonna see them come much faster to you in February, or for the next few months till August, while Rahu and Jupiter will again be together, conjunct. Not August, I think June, July. But the starting process in regards to anything to do with fourth house can start now. Property, place of living, family happiness, inner happiness, security in life, vehicles and matters like that, or any expanding the family with new members, finding a better place to live, knowing what is the best place for you to live, investing in property, starting a business in regards to property or nurturing the fourth house, health for your mother health, you know. So this is what I see for you, Gemini. Hopefully that was useful for you. Tune in next month, subscribe to my channel, tune in March. I'm going to talk about Mars being in your seventh house of relationships. We talked about the sixth house, so hopefully this will be useful to all of you. Thank you.